Hello everyone, my name is Clinton Kowach, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about the developments that are happening within Syria and Turkey, and also what's going on with the U.S. and China trade deal. Right now, what we have going on within Syria is we have the Turkish army has invaded Syria. They have used the reasoning for the Kurdish people being in opposition to them as the reason for them to go into Syria. And it just so happens that the United States president pulled out the American troops to enable this action to happen. Syria has, there's been reports of civilian casualties of them lining people up on the side of the road and executing them, attacks against the prisons to allow ISIS fighters to escape, to the amount of 700 to 1,000 ISIS fighters have escaped already. Erdogan has also warned Europe that if Europe stands against Turkey in this invasion of Syria, that he will unleash over 1 million refugees into Israel, or not Israel, but into Europe. Europe is already inundated with the amount of refugees that came out of the Middle East when Syria went through their issues before, and they have not recovered from that, let alone if Turkey does it again with another 1 million people going into Europe. It's going to overflood the system again, and they already have an economic crisis. We already have reports of Germany, which is the only strong economy of all of Europe, is starting to fail. And if they go down, the whole European Union goes down with it. Let alone what's happening with Brexit at the end of this month on October 31st, when Brexit is supposed to occur. So you throw refugees in the mix and Europe will be done economically. They won't be able to sustain themselves. Turkey is moving into the Kurdish land and killing as many Kurds as they can. Today, the Kurdish nation made an agreement with Assad, the leader of Syria, to move Syrian troops to the border to protect them against Turkey. This is kind of a about face, considering that the Kurds have actually been against Assad this whole time. And that was part of the reason that they had the United States backing, is because we were against Assad. Well, now that they're actually in support of Assad, and Assad can definitely hold his own, and his fighters are war hardened, so they are ready for this. So we have an escalation that's going to happen between Turkey and Syria. Well, how does the UN play into this, considering that Turkey is a United Nations member and a NATO member? So the whole world's not sure how everything's going to work out, let alone the fact that Israel had shown their support for the Kurdish nation and threatened to go into to support for the Kurds, and now that Assad is actually going to support them, we really don't know how this is going to work out. The only thing that we do know is that Turkey and Syria are about ready to go head to head, and along with Syria is Russia as well. So this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good for the people in the Middle East, no matter what. I keep hearing people in the United States say this doesn't matter to them. This is all, it's all in the Middle East, and they're just going to be able to sit at home and watch everything on the news and on their TV, and this is not going to affect them in any way. Where has your soul gone? To see people dying, to see people, being exiled in massive amounts like they are going to be, to see people being slaughtered on the side of the roads, like the arrogance that we have to sit there and say, well, it doesn't matter because we're just sitting, we can sit at home and watch it on the TV. This is going to come to our shores as well, and the first thing we're going to see is economically. Everything is going to occur. We know this. We've already seen that recently. The Federal Reserve is actually implementing QE4. They don't want to name it QE4, but they're going to start injecting money into the bond market all the way through into the second quarter of next year. They're also going to extend this overnight and weekly payments to them that they make to the banks to allow them to borrow money every single night. They're going to extend that into January. So the banking system in the United States is already on the rocks. The banking system in the world is on the rocks. So any small little trigger can cause the whole system to implode, cause everything to cascade. I mean, we already have inflation taking over in the United States. And, you can look at the indicator and everyone says, oh, well, inflation's only 2% and it's not even out of ordinary. Why don't you try to afford anything? No one can buy a house. No one can buy a car. No one can sit there and go buy food at the grocery store. I mean, prices of everything are going through the roof. Utilities are going through the roof. Everything. That's inflation. The cost of everything is getting way out of hand, and the rates of people's pay is not increasing to go along with it. So it's affecting everyone on an individual scale, except for those that are entitled to have the money right now, where they don't necessarily have to watch these individual prices. But they will be in fact affected here soon as well, when they start to see everything else go down. Now, this whole trade deal with the United States and China, everyone got so excited on Friday, when the Trump administration came out saying, we have a deal with China. Oh, great, yay, woohoo. Well, it's a temporary deal, and it's only through to maybe December. And if there's not a full deal worked out, Mnuchin came out and said that we're going to implement the tariffs in December if China doesn't implement a full deal with the United States, which means that there is no deal, that they just have an agreement. And then Mnuchin also came out saying, well, they have an agreement, they just need to put it down on paper and work out the details. That is no agreement. It's just smoke and mirrors. It's just everyone just pretending that they have an idea what they're talking about, and they don't. It's just it's a way to manipulate the markets. It's a way to manipulate the American public and say that something is happening when nothing is. So all those that are holding out for a U.S.-China trade deal, there's no incentive for the Chinese to make a deal. They can sit there and use the entire world as their crutch because everyone has to buy everything from China. The United States doesn't really produce anything to where the rest of the world can afford it and buy it. Everything's too expensive in the United States. So, of course, they're going to go to China. And as the economic turmoil gets worse and worse, they're going to go for more cost-effective products, which is China, not the United States. So, we are not in the situation for bargaining. And with a lot of the reports that came out, it shows that everything is in favor of the Chinese. It's not like the United States is winning on this. So here goes. We're in trouble. This whole war in Syria and Turkey will spread. If you look at the prophet of Isaiah, the first 24 chapters is a long vision, where he talks about the destruction that Assyria brings upon the Middle East. And ultimately God judges Assyria after the destruction, but he uses them as a tool before that. And that is what's going to happen in the Middle East. Assyria, the land of Assyria, is going to wage war with the rest of the Middle East and overcome them. And then ultimately turn against Israel. That is prophecy. That is what's going to happen. And we're seeing that develop right now. And this war will engulf the whole world. Because, well, economically, we're just waiting for something to occur. And here we go. Here it is. Everyone, good luck. Everyone, keep paying attention to what's going on and pray. Because that's the only thing that's going to get us anywhere through this. Everyone, thank you for listening. My name is Clinton Coach, and if you're interested in more about me, you can look at my website, clintoncoach.com, where I write about all the biblical events that are transpiring and how they relate to current events, or also on Twitter at Clinton Coach. Thank you very much, and may God guide you on your journey.